Hey YouTube, it's Patrick J. Hilario here, your real estate investor and real estate coach. In today's video, we'll be talking about if I could go back in time, what would I change about my first BRRRR deal? Now, before you invest in your first BRRRR property, there's a few things that you need to do. With my first BRRRR property, I actually got fairly lucky in that I did a BRRRR with no rent. So for the ones that don't know, the BRRRR strategy is when you buy, renovate, rent, refinance, and then repeat the process, which allows you to extract your whole down payment and renovation money so you can do that and use those funds for the next deal. Now, for the most part, I usually have to do a renovation to extract the value out of the deal. But for this first BRRRR, it was an off-market deal and you're able to pick up the property way below its market value, which means I put tenants in there. I got the keys on possession day, passed them on to the tenants, they were in there, and I was actually able to refinance the house without doing any renovations about 3 months later. So with that first BRRRR deal, I felt absolutely excited. This allowed me to be very adaptable in that right after I had put in my offer, I actually had a friend contact me. They wanted to rent the property out. Instead of being like, hey, I gotta force some renovations, force some value, I actually brought them in as inspectors. They inspected the house while we were there before I actually took off my conditions. What had happened is that they loved the house. They actually signed a lease agreement right after we took a look at the property. And at the very end of that lease agreement, I just added, if for any reason that we don't close on this property, this lease agreement is void. The reason for that is, hey, if I don't close the property, it doesn't make sense to rent that out to them because I don't own the property. They're completely okay with that. They gave a deposit in, and that really sped up the process. We are actually able, again, to take possession of the property, put tenants in there right away, and in 3 months, extract all the value out and essentially got our down payment back. Because we didn't spend any renovation money, we actually were able to do what's called a BRRRR with no renovations. We're actually working on some coaching programs. So if you are getting a ton of value out of this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment any questions you have down below. I'll use those questions to create new videos. And of course, hit the Calendly link below if you're interested in learning how to do BRRRRs. Now, I can't promise that I can teach how to do BRRRR no renos, but I can at least show you some tips and tricks to notice when that deal makes sense. But for sure, I specialize in the BRRRR strategy, so make sure you hit that Calendly link below and apply for mentorship. Now, here's a quick photo of my first property. I actually did a 5% down on this one. It's right here. Let's jump into a few things that you need to do before doing your first BRRRR deal. So the first thing that you need to do before getting your first BRRRR done is you need to understand your current financial statements, which gives you insight on your current financial situation. So you need to know how much are you cash flowing per month. You need to know what your current net worth is. That's going to determine how you're going to do the first deal. Are you going to be funding that yourself because you have enough assets that you can plop into the property? Or are you going to be raising capital? Do you have to increase your income or decrease your expenses if you're someone that runs your own business? You can't be showing zero profits if you are a full-time entrepreneur. You want to get finance. You need to really understand your financial statements. That's going to give you a clue of what kind of property you can afford. Plus, the bank and the mortgage broker is going to need those financial statements when you're getting pre-approved for financing. Now, the second thing you need to do before you get into your first BRRRR deal is you need to understand how do you actually analyze BRRRR deal. Now, I've made a few videos on this, so you'll see a link here on a video that I made of how to analyze a BRRRR deal. This is important because you need to know what's a good BRRRR and what's not. You need to understand, at least have insights, be able to estimate. Are we going to be able to pull out our whole down payment and our renovation money? Are we expecting to leave some money in the deal? And that could make sense. And you also need to make sure that you understand what's the after repair value of this BRRRR deal, just so you don't get into a sticky situation where you borrow money from a private lender and then you leave some money in that deal, which means now you need to find a way to pay back that private money lender. So for a regular BRRRR deal, third thing you need to remember, because we can't bank on being able to do BRRRRs without renovations, that's a very small percentage of deals you can get. You can get that, that's awesome, but that's usually not the case. So the third thing, you need to understand your renovations. Have a good plan that is set up properly on how long these renovations are going to take, who's going to do what. You got to know how to manage these renovations, and you also need to know how much is the costs and what quality of renovations are you going to do. I had this running joke with my dad whenever we would do renovations together. A BRRRR, it's just a rental. We don't have to make this property amazing to the point where we want to live in this place. We just got to maintenance the place, maybe update a few spots, make it look nice, clean, and bright, and that's how we're gonna be able to add a ton of value without breaking our bank accounts. Because again, this is not a flip, this is a BRRRR. It's gonna be a buy and hold rental after the fact of doing the renovations. We gotta make sure that our renovations are strategically planned in that we're spending $1,000 to $10,000, but we're actually increasing the value 3 to 4x of that. So if we spend 1,000, we gotta be able to increase to 3 to 4,000. If we spend 10,000, we got to be able to increase the value of the property by 30 to 40,000. By strategically doing and planning these renovations, we're going to make sure that we can extract that renovation money out after we do a refinance or get a HELOC, while also being able to extract the down payment out of this BRRRR deal. So I remember it was my third BRRRR deal, and we had bought the place for 172 grand. It was actually a couple that was going through a divorce, so we got property under market value. And the renovations that we spent were about $19,000. What had happened is got the house appraised. I'm never gonna forget when I looked at that appraisal. Essentially, I ran the numbers. We were gonna be about $9,000 short on this BRRRR. So we pulled out the whole down payment. However, we didn't pull out all the renovation money, and I basically trapped 9 grand into that, and my heart sank. I was not happy with this. I essentially was kind of worried, hey, like, how am I gonna do the next deal? Like, I'm not gonna be able to pay back the money that I borrowed. I'm leaving 9 grand in this deal. This was not what I wanted from this BRRRR project. Look back on it, I realized probably shouldn't have taken out the dishwasher, probably should have put in a real backsplash instead of a sticker backsplash, probably should have hired better people to do the renovations as opposed to doing these renovations mostly by myself. Got a little bit of help here and there. That deal didn't work out as I had intended. Now, luckily, I was able to sit down with my coach, and he just said, hey, like, yeah, you leave 9 grand in the deal, but if you think about it, you have a cash flowing asset and you only spent 9 grand. So I did have to have this crucial conversation with one of my money partners and said, you're leaving 9 grand in the deal, let's drop some new paperwork, and you're actually gonna get a cut of the cash flow up until we're able to pay you back that 9 grand. This really taught me to have the proper renovation plan in check. Every time I do renovations now, I always keep the dishwasher. If there is no dishwasher, I don't necessarily have to add one, but there's already a dishwasher in there. It doesn't make sense to delete that, and because it's wired into the home, it actually adds value to the renovation process. And that's just a lesson I had to learn because I made some mistakes on that deal. Luckily enough, that little bit of failure of leaving 9 grand into the deal taught me so much that I was able to take those lessons into the next BRRRR deals. If you're someone that wants to get into real estate and start doing these BRRRRs while also making sure you don't make these mistakes like I did, make sure you hit the Calendly link below. I'd love to give you a free real estate strategy session where we can break down, figure out, okay, what do you need for coaching? And then if you qualify to be a student, I'd love for you to join the Inner Circle program. You get access to myself as a coach where I'll make sure that I keep you accountable and help you implement the right strategies for your real estate portfolio. And you'll also get access to the Inner Circle network where that's all the other investors and all the other students that are also doing real estate so that you don't feel alone when things get tough and you really want to make sure that, hey, are you doing the right things? And kind of have a group of people and a network to help feed you and keep you moving forward in real estate. Because, hey, when real estate gets tough, it does get lonely sometimes, and it helps to have a coach on your side and also a network of people that want the best for you and your real estate goals. To quickly recap the BRRRR strategy, you want to make sure that you buy the property under market value, then you do strategic renovations where you actually then increase and force appreciation. So you're going to rent out the property at market value or slightly below. And then finally, you're going to get a refinance where you'll get a cash out refinance or a HELOC, take that funds and use that to pay back money partners, get back your down payment, and get back your renovation money. After this video, I hope you understand that it's very important to look at all your deals as lessons that will help improve your real estate business over the long run. Yes, I left 9 grand in that deal, but that taught me to make sure that I cover certain mistakes and to avoid those mistakes, such as deleting dishwasher or doing like a sticker backsplash. Without those lessons, you're not going to learn to improve. Success is awesome, but unfortunately, us as humans, we don't necessarily learn from our successes, but we learn from our failures. So highly suggest that you learn to fail forward, take enough risk that you can learn from your failures, but also make sure that those failures don't get you killed and get you to leave the real estate game and ruin the long-term goals that you could have if you just learn to find and seek improvement through small failures. Awesome, so I hope you guys got a ton of value from that video, and if you enjoyed that, make sure you hit that notification button, hit the like and subscribe, put any comments, and I'll be sure to answer those comments, or at least, hey, maybe I'll even make some videos on that. So again, hope you guys got a ton of value and enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.